Let's go to the AFC, shall we? Let's go to a conversation starter and ender that involves a man being offsides on the offensive side of the field. Now, obviously, Chiefs, Bills was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Anytime these two teams play against each other, it's beautiful. It's almost becoming the New England-Indianapolis Colts AFC rivalry where every time they play, it's normally going to be a hell of a game. Unless New England's playing with deflated footballs.
Well, slow down.
You know what I mean? Unless that's happening. Now, the end of the game, let's get right to it here. Kadarius Toney from the New York Giants, he's standing offsides for the last play. Okay, it's not the last play, but you get it. 2nd and 10, they still had an opportunity after this. Kadarius Toney, clearly offsides. Now, Patrick Mahomes is not happy about it, clearly offsides. Go ahead and run this thing. This becomes the cleanest play I've ever seen made by a skill position player. Travis Kelce with the quick release, Dan Marino, perfect spiral, having the gut sack to do that. Obviously huge. Having the ability to throw a ball 20 yards while running full speed, about to get tackled with a quick release to a guy, brilliant. Having the forethought to be able to do, brilliant. All those things. And I listened to him talk about this on Pardon My Take with PFT, where PFT was like, hey, this needs to become a thing. PFT's been pounding the drum for this for a long time. Travis said the first time he did it was in like 2018 or 2017 or something like that. He threw it to LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy went for like 20 yards.
Yeah.
So he comes off the field and he's like just waiting for Andy Reid to say something to him, whether good or bad. Like, why would you ever do that? Immediately after the game, Andy Reid comes up to him and says, what if we did that every single play? And then Travis's brain like melted at the moment. And Travis talked about the risk reward. You know, like if you pitch to a guy and he only gets 3 yards, like was it worth pitching the ball at all in this entire thing? Is the guy paying attention that I'm going to do this? There's a lot that goes into it. I think he was a high school quarterback too, Travis.
Yeah.
So like he even explained in the clip that I saw on Part of My Take where he was like, now I try to know like, hey, where's the running back going to be? Who's on the other side of the field? Like he's trying to learn where everybody is so that he can potentially do that. In the biggest moment, they pull it off, except for Kadarius Toney being offsides. Now, Gene Steratore gave an incredible answer about this entire thing. Like, hey, refs don't want to call offensive offsides. I think it's been called 11 times this year.
Yeah, that's what someone said this morning.
I think it's been called 11 times this year, 3 times last year. Like, people don't want to call this. You want to have a conversation with the coaches. You want to tell people to get back. Unless it is egregious. And this was a blatant offsides. His head and Von Miller's head are almost touching each other.
Yes.
And if you look at normal lineup, look on the other side, that's a normal lineup.
On the line of scrimmage,
yeah, that is a normal. Everybody's like, well, his foot's on the ball. It's where the ball is. It's like, yeah, but your head, you see. The head is, it's like, it's just, that is not how, like, Darius Toney messed up here.
Yeah,
you know,
can't do it.
Don't love that it took place. And the refs probably, as they're watching the play unfold, are going,
Shit.
no. But Patrick Mahomes was not happy about it because this has only been called 11 times all year. Here's what Patrick Mahomes had to say about it afterwards.
It's obviously tough to swallow. Not only for me, but just for football in general. Just to take away greatness like that. For a guy like Travis to make a play like that, and who knows if we win. But as I know, as fans, you want to see the guys on the field decide the game. And that's why last week I didn't say anything about the flag that didn't get called on Marquez. And so, they're human, man. They make mistakes. But, it's every week we're talking about something. And all I can do is go out there and give everything I have. And I'm proud of the guys because that's what we did. And it was a great football game that ended – another great football game that just ended like that. It's just tough to swallow.
First time we've ever seen Patrick Mahomes act the way he acted afterwards. He was visibly upset with the side judge. I think he was trying to go to bat for his guy, though, too, Kadarius Toney, right? Because the easy answer here, the internet said it about Kadarius Toney, this guy's a goof. Why is this guy always around losses and being the reason for the Kansas City Chiefs? He's new there. He had a massive punt return for them in a Super Bowl. That immediately gets forgotten about. This season has been a little bit different. But this type of action from Patrick Mahomes, and then what he said afterwards about, it's always something with him. And a majority of humans around the football world are like, Pat, you're wrong. You're wrong. But I think he's going to bat for his guys. And he's also speaking what a lot of people think about the refs not making decisions. Andy Reid would go on to say it was a bit embarrassing for the NFL for that to happen. So both guys, Pat and Andy, came out and said, like, this is not good. The rest of the world said they made the right call. Joining us now is a man to see what the, what's the ripple effects of this thing. senior NFL insider for ESPN, Michigan man, Adam Schefter.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Shefty, I apologize for making you wait there a few moments as we laid it out, but I think this is a big deal because Patrick Mahomes, face of the league, okay? We never see Patrick Mahomes do this. This is very out of character for Patrick Mahomes. Our immediate thought is, the NFL is going to fine the hell out of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid for all of this. Is that how you see this kind of turning out? And what do you think the next steps are for all parties?
Well, I don't think the NFL likes for people to come out and question officiating, something that the league doesn't take kind to. And so I would imagine that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid both potentially could get fined this week for their comments.
What's that look like? What is that normal?
It depends how much of a message the league would want to send. And in this case, whether the league would be willing to offer any leniency or whether they'd want to risk the wrath of the face of the league and Patrick Mahomes and upset him before the holidays and levy a fine that would be stiffer than normal. Or do you want to say, you know what, Patrick, don't do this again. Don't do this again. Please don't criticize the officials. They are under enough pressure and scrutiny as it is. We don't need you piling on. So there's a couple of ways the league could go about handling this. And the same would be true of Andy Reid, who never comes out and says the kind of things that he does. But he questioned officials as well after the game. So when you've got Andy Reid doing that, when you've got Patrick Mahomes doing that, clearly they had an issue. And the thing is that it was the right call. Now, you may get a speeding ticket for going 61 in a 55 zone that you don't like. And you're like, 61? What are we doing here? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is you were speeding. And if you look at the view, he is lined up offside. Yes. Is it ticky-tacky? Absolutely.
Not really.
Is it ridiculous? Yes. Do we lose this highlight forevermore? What would have been one of the great plays of Mahomes and Kelsey's career, so that when Travis Kelce is going to the Hall of Fame, one day we see that highlight. We see, look at this play that he made down the stretch. But that's wiped out now by this offsides that Kadarius Toney was on. I mean, he's offside.
Yeah.
He's offside.
We all agree, Schefter, literally, we all agree that, Kadarius can't happen. From Kadarius Toney, this cannot even be a question. He ends up being the guy that scores the touchdown, too. Yeah. So, he wanted this on his highlight reel as well.
It's great. Pat, he catches the ball. He turns around. He's happy. He's celebrating. Kelsey recognizes something is going on. He looks back to see what Toney has no idea that he lined up offside. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, you were offside. And they called it.
I saw Booger McFarland put out a tweet about the speeding metaphor as well, where he said 60 and a 55. This feels like a 60 and a 45.
Sure.
You know what I mean? This feels like a 60 and a 45 because they'll probably give you 9. Right? 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine is what I think you hear. I think he was maybe going 57 in a 45 just because, that's an easy decision to make. It's just a brain fart, too. That can happen to humans. But I do appreciate that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid publicly very much came out and were like, this ain't Tony's fault. This is the ref's fault. So it's going to be a fine. Obviously, we're all...
By the way, there's a lot of people that say a lot of things about the officials. Very few of them are willing to put their name and face on it.
Agreed.
There's a lot of people that have a lot of problems with the officials, and they rip them, and they criticize them. And ask the league office what it's like on a typical Monday, how many calls they're going to get to see about coaches complaining about a certain call. That's one of the hardest jobs in the world, I think, to do that, to take those calls, to answer these men's questions and points, because more often than not, they're right.
Yeah.
And the officials are wrong.
Yeah. And careers change and legacies change and people get fired and all that stuff. Nobody wants to be a ref, so those that sign up to do it, we appreciate you.
Yep. Yeah.
But also, you're in the NFL, so let's go ahead and get it right. In NFL also, let's do everything we can to help these refs be the best that they possibly could be, like hiring the best people. For instance, let's get Gene Steratore back in the building.
Please.
And also, you know who else? Let's get Dean Blandino
Why not?
back.
You know what? Let me tell you something. There's been conversation to get Dean back. Whoa. But Dean makes a lot of money in TV.
And so NFL's got a lot of money. NFL's got a lot of money.
I agree. You know what? Bring him back. We'd love to see Dean back with the NFL. He does a great job. Dean's tremendous.
Yeah. And Gene Steratore. And Gene Steratore back in there.
He's really good, too.
Yes, very. He's the most... I'm not going to speak for every person that's ever played in the NFL. I'm sure there's people that don't like Gene Steratore for some reason. Maybe he had too much moxie, too handsome, smelled too good. Maybe. Sure. I don't know what it is. But basically, every player that has ever played on a field or a court that Gene Steratore is reffing on is like, This is the guy. He understands the flow of the game. He communicates well. I think him getting back into it will be huge. But with that being said, that game was awesome. That game was phenomenal. We have a chance to talk about another one, hopefully, whenever they meet again.